Hello, everyone. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. Thank you so much for being here. We just launched the live stream, so we're going to give everybody a few minutes to join us. So please take this time to get comfortable, grab a coffee, a soft drink, and if you're like us in Portugal, maybe something a little stronger. Um, Now, we have a little wine and bowls here in Francisco, our guest. Can you tell us why we're drinking the wines from bowls?
Hello, Gleb. Thank you for having me. So this is vinho verde. It's a specific type of wine produced in the north of Portugal. Actually, this is a part of my father's vineyard in Guimarães, and it has a special touch. So the water that we use for the vineyards have a special power. They say whoever drinks the water will get married in the year. And we're drinking from the bowls because this is a traditional way to drink vinho verde. That's why I want to say cheers to you.
So, cheers.
Cheers. Saúde.
Saúde. Tastes like marriage. So,
Vinho verde.
vinho verde.
There's red verde. There's white verde, which is the one we're drinking, has 14% of alcohol. And we also have a special type of rosé verde.
Wow. Well, and what is verde?
So verde is the region. It's in the Minho district, Minho area. And it's just the name of the place. It means green in Portuguese. So people translate to green wine.
All right, we're going to give people another minute. Otherwise, we're going to drink all the wine. And I don't know how the webinar is going to go. If you learn nothing else from this webinar, learn that if you come to Portugal, drink Vinho Verde, and you will be married that year.
Well, this one from my father's property.
Oh, yes, and you must contact ERA to get your bottle. We're going to give people another 20 seconds. Also, one other sip. All right, I think we can get started. Welcome, everybody, to the housing webinar brought to you by Digital Visa Portugal with our guests from ERA. My name is Gleb, and I'm the Senior Immigration Advisor at Digital Visa Portugal. I'm very happy to introduce our guest today. Some of you may already know him from the work we've done today. Francisco Almeida Farage from ERA, or ERA, as you say in the US, from Avenida Novas, Baixa. Now, me and Francisco, we have a lot in common. We both help people come to Portugal. We both have very aerodynamic haircuts. And if you ever hear people two bald guys giving you immigration advice, that's good. That's us. If it's not so good, for sure they don't work here. So let's have a toast before we get started.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you again for everybody who joined. I know many of you are current clients and friends, but so thank you for being here. For those of you that are new to this, Digital Visa Portugal is a concierge firm in Lisbon, specializing in bringing Americans, Canadians, and people from the UK to Portugal and Europe. We have representation on both sides in your country and in Portugal, so we can get the process going for you smoothly and as easily as possible. We are designed specifically to take care of everything for you. And of course, today, we're joined by Francisco from ERA, or ERA. Most of you already know that ERA has a worldwide presence in real estate, but has a particularly large footprint in Portugal. Era is my broker of choice. I have actually used Francisco to buy my property and to sell some of mine. But Era also offers great opportunities for renting, buying, and investing. They offer both on and off market prospects for the buyer. So, Francisco, maybe now would be a good time for you to jump in and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Gleb. So I used to work as a tour guide myself when I was younger. Then I started to work with rentals for foreign people that wanted to stay in Lisbon. And I've been working for the past years as a realtor for ERA. And my specific market would be Lisbon. And I also speak 5 languages, which is English, Portuguese, French, English, Portuguese, French, Spanish, English, and Italian. Yes. I lived in Rome, Paris, Madrid, Lisbon, and Brussels.
The first digital nomad. So, guys, the reason why we're here is housing. Housing is an important topic because housing is a mandatory requirement for anybody applying for a visa in Portugal. You must submit a 12-month lease with your application. No Airbnbs or hotels will be allowed. Now, there are 3 ways to achieve this basic requirement, but very important requirement for the visa. One, the one way is, and this is what our webinar will focus on, is renting or buying a property in Portugal. Another way that you can achieve this requirement for your visa application is if you have friends or family members that will sign a terms of responsibility document taking responsibility for of the financial expansion of your stay in Portugal. And the third is if you're just looking to meet the requirement on the application but not actually stay there, is our firm can set up a PO box for you. If you have questions about options 2 and 3, please contact us at the contact at the end of the show. But for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to focus on number 1, which is renting and buying in Portugal. So obviously, our customers who come for us visa are always concerned because they worry about, can I rent property remotely? What red flags do I need to watch out for? What are the requirements? What is a guarantor? Do I need to speak Portuguese? And so on and so forth. So for the purposes of this webinar, we have chosen some of the questions that you guys have submitted. By the way, thank you for submitting those questions. We're going to try to get through some of them during the call. We will also have a 20 to 30 minute live Q&A at the end. So I know we are streaming on multiple platforms. Please submit your questions in the comment section, and our staff will send it to us when we're done so we can address as many of them as you can. And of course, those questions that we don't get to, please contact us and we'll be more than happy to provide you the answers for free. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Our first topic is the overall Portuguese real estate market and its trends. So I think for Francisco, I'm going to have to ask, our clients are asking, how would you describe the real estate market in Portugal? What are the major changes that you've noticed over the last 12 months?
Well, in Lisbon, the offer is growing so much, but also the demand is growing even more. So we have this feeling that there's no houses in the market because everything that goes online, let's say Idealista, which is a famous online platform, goes really fast. So everything that you see normally, of course, online are apartments overpriced that stay too long on the market because everything that's good, it goes just fast.
So like any major city, if something is cheap, they buy it. Now tell us, what's the most common misconceptions that you see foreigners and maybe Americans have about the Portuguese market?
Well, they will think that the Portuguese market is cheap. That's the main thing. They will think it's cheap because they will see that the minimum wage, and they will compare the minimum wage, the Portuguese one, with, let's say, USA minimum wage. And they would say, well, amazing opportunity. I'm just going to jump in and buy this. But of course, comparing to the Portuguese standards, it's completely different. So
I mean, prices are going up, but I would like to say, as someone who's originally from New York, that even though prices are going up, they are relatively cheap, in my opinion, compared to other metropolitan American cities. So take that for what it's worth. Now we're going to jump into another topic that people have asked us about is renting as a foreigner. So I think, Francisco, I think the question a lot of our customers are asking is, what's the standard process for renting remotely? Remotely, because as you apply for the visa, you are in the US or other countries, and you must get a lease. Can someone sign a 12-month lease from abroad?
Well, the short answer is yes. Yes, you can. You can do it online, but it will be complicated. You will face many struggles because Portugal is not, and our market is not as digital as we would like. So my recommendations is, if you are looking for property to rent and of course to buy, contact an agent.
And just to jump into this, like to get this back, what is the cost of renting a property through an agent?
Free.
That's right, free, guys. And that is why we have Francisco joining us, because a lot of our customers do not understand that it is the owner of the renting property that pays the agent. So there is absolutely no reason not to use an agent. It will, okay? So just think about that. That's what I did. And so guarantors. Guarantors is a question we get a lot because we as foreigners, we are most of the time can afford the property, are wealthy enough to buy to rent it, but we're being asked for Portuguese guarantors. I have X amount of money in the bank. I show them that my foreign bank statements, and they still ask me if I'm Portuguese. No, I am not Portuguese. Tell us, what is the situation with Portuguese renters asking for Portuguese guarantors?
Well, it's just like when you're doing business, there needs to be a level of trust. You need to trust someone. And of course, the Portuguese that have property, the landlords, if they meet someone for the first time that promises heaven and earth, and they say, okay, I'm going to stay here 3, 10 years, 1 year, and then they go out, they leave in 2 months, 3 months. How can they be safe in this business? So that's why a guarantor sometimes it's needed, or a contract that shows also that you're working here, for example, or even higher rents, more rents, or more deposits.
So it is possible to just put an extra month or two down to avoid being if you don't have a Portuguese guarantor.
Yes,
Perfect. And that's something you could arrange. Yes.
of course.
Amazing. Amazing, guys. So the cost. What is the average cost of rent in Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve? And of course, there are other parts of Portugal. But guys, if you want to know about those, please contact us after or at the contact information. We'll go through that with you, or contact Francisco. For the purposes of this webinar, we're going to focus on the 3 most popular markets: Lisbon, Porto, Algarve.
Well, the price range for rental varies according to your needs. If you want to go be close by to the beach, because Lisbon is 30 minutes from the beach. If you want to be in the historical neighborhood, if you want to be, I don't know, in a more modern area, let's say Avenidas Novas, where I work, the price range will vary. Of course, I can give you an example. For example, in the Alcântara, let's say, which is close by the bridge over the Tagus.
That's the bridge that we're looking at, guys.
Close by the bridge on this side of the coast. Maybe a 2-bedroom apartment can be 1,500 euros, but it can even be more depending on the building. In this will be a typical rental
So a 2-bedroom apartment in a good location, 1,500. Yeah. You think with furniture or without?
Well, furniture. Well,
and how much with furniture?
Well, as I said, it can always change. It varies depending on what we're talking about. So that's why, you see, you always need someone you must trust. This webinar, I believe, we're talking mostly about one thing: trust. Who we can trust, why we trust them, how can they help us. That's why our advices are for free, because we are valued on our effort and what we do.
Wow. Trust.
And of course, Gleb, the the realtor would be paid by, if you imagine, let's say I will help a customer to find an apartment to rent, I would be paid by the homeowner.
Oh.
And for him to have an apartment, he would have to pay, let's say, 2 deposits plus 2 rents. So be 4 months.
Thank you. And by the way, just for a little personal context, my parents were just in Portugal. Our company just got them a D7 visa, and they rented an apartment on Avenida Liberdade, fully furnished, 2 bedroom for 1850 with furniture. So just and that is in the center of Lisbon. I'm sure you guys can find better with Francisco, but usually a couple of €100 more, I think, with furniture. So now we're going to jump into buying property, where this is where Era really shines. Tell me, Francisco, is Portugal still a good investment? Some people tell me it's overpriced. Which are the regions and properties that offer the most prospective return?
Gleb, do you know when it's the best time to buy a house?
I think I've heard this, but I'd like to hear you say it.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
The market is growing so much. Lisbon is growing even more. The metro stations are also evolving all across the city. There are new lines being built. There's still, well, they just approved a new tax for construction that's going to be like 6% next year, starting next year. So I see Portugal in the next 5 years as crazy investment time. It's now, well, yesterday, but now it's the time. You're still not late. You can still make good profit investing in Portugal, but it will be harder to find bargains. It'll be harder to find the deals, of course, because everything that goes into the market, it just disappears.
So let's say somebody wants to capitalize on these opportunities. What are the steps a foreigner needs to take to buy a property in Portugal? And how does the buying process typically unfold, from making an offer to signing the deed?
Well, the first thing is to understand what budget you want to spend, what budget you want to put in for an apartment, and then what type of product you are looking for. I would advise you, of course, not just because I'm a realtor, but I would advise you if you have to find someone that you trust, a realtor that you trust, and so he can help explain the dynamics of the process, help you explain also, go through the areas of Lisbon, what is a good investment, because let's say you see amazing price, but then you go to a neighborhood and you just say, whoa, this is just not me. A lot of French people, for example, go to Camp de Rique. If you want a more elegant neighborhood, Príncipe Real. If you want just, because Lisbon has 7 hills, or 8, as we say, maybe they want to be in a place with no hills and be in the city center, would be in Avenidas Novas, near Entre Campos, Campo Pequeno, which everything is with no high hill, of course. So you need someone to take you all around this, and then set up the visits and take care of the documentation. That's where I would say an advice to contact Digital Visa, because the documentation is always a process, a very complicated process, because you would need a POA, you would need a NIF number, you would need a Portuguese bank account. And of course, once you find the property that you want, do an offer. If you are buying, I will always advise my clients to do a CPCV, which in Portuguese translates Contrato Promessa de Compra e Venda, which is a document that binds you to the seller. It will protect you. And let's say you would do the deed in 60 days. So in 2 months, you will have the deed. And that would be the process.
Fantastic. But, and then, so people going down this road, we hear this word. I'm going to have a drink before I ask this question. Oh, excuse me. Taxes. Taxes, taxes, taxes. Dirty word. But what are the taxes, fees, etc., in buying a property? What is roughly the percentage of the purchase price that they should budget for taxes?
Well, I cannot say for sure because this will vary depending on the property that you're buying. But you will pay what is called the IMT tax. You will pay the stamp duty for the deed, which also varies. Of course, you will pay for the notary and registrations. That can be kind of €1,000, and the IMI you would pay annually, but also varies from according to the price of the property and also the city where you are. But it is lower than in the United States, for example.
As a property owner in Portugal, I could tell you that it's significantly lower in the United States. And of course, it's very difficult to answer the percentage of the property value without knowing the property cost or the type of property. If you guys are buying property and have specific questions about taxes and you know the property you're buying, we can give you exact information. Just contact us after the webinar. Now, no discussion about buying property can go on without mortgages and financing. In the US, my country, we have mortgage brokers. What do we have in Portugal for people looking for financing that are foreigners?
Lab, amazing. Here in Portugal, the taxes are for financing are relatively low. You would say it would be around 4%, which is interesting if you are looking for finance. We have clients that put their money in ETFs or SP500 and get finance here in Portugal. And let me say, we have a finance department with ERA Avenidas Novas, Baixa, where I work, with our fantastic co-worker, Leonor.
And tell me, is there a cost for a buyer looking for help in getting financing from ERA?
The cost will never come from the buyer.
Amazing. So it's free.
Nothing is free in life, Gleb, of course.
But the buyer doesn't pay.
The buyer will never pay.
Free for the buyer then.
Free for the buyer.
All right. So, guys, now we're going to, of course, a few questions that are popped up. We have, with every business, there's always people that procrastinate. Question that we get a lot of the time, clients come to us in a rush saying we have anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks to 30 days to find a rental property in Portugal. I mean, some people even say 1 to 2 weeks to 30 days to buy a property in Portugal. Is that possible?
To buy property sorry, can you repeat?
In Portugal in 1 month, or rent the property in Portugal within a month?
It will, if you have the cash. So if you have the money with you, I would say.
Meaning
yes.
if you don't need financing.
If you don't need finance, you have the money, you know exactly what you want. You are being helped by the best real estate agent in Portugal. Well, of course you can. You can do it fast. You can get your apartment, house. But of course, the minimum would say for you to go straight to the deed would be 10 working days. If you go straight to the deed. But of course, I always recommend, just like I said previously, do the CPCV. Take your time.
So your recommendation is don't be that guy that procrastinates and give yourself some time. Yeah. But also the cash buyer is king, I guess.
Always.
But rental is, and rental is a more practical option for someone who's coming to Portugal for the visa. At least if you're procrastinating in short term. That is for sure possible, I hope. Yes.
Oh yeah, of course. It's well, kind of the same process as to buy an apartment, but it will take less time.
Yeah. Amazing. So, but guys, don't put yourself in that position, as unfortunately some of our clients do, but because you do get the best deals if you have more time. You should start looking for property that you want to rent, 60 days prior, at least 60 days prior, and possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 90 days prior if you want to buy.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we jump into the questions that you guys are hopefully sending us in your comment section, to summarize, can you give us the number one piece of advice you would give to anybody moving to Portugal in 2025 or 2026?
Well, you know this very famous TV show in USA called Better Call Saul? I would say Better Call Francisco, because the first thing is get yourself a realtor. Don't try to do in a sloppy way. You want to do everything smooth, smooth with someone that speaks the lingo, someone that can help you out. There's even realtors that go get the clients on the airport and show them around the city. So take your time, find yourself a nice realtor, someone that you can trust, someone that understands you, understands what it is to be in a foreign country for the first time, trying to move in, trying to adapt. And next, he will help you out. Yeah, so that's my advice.
I mean, that's good advice. So, guys, we are going to take a sip of wine and then jump into the questions. Okay, here we go. Forgive the phone, guys. I need to get your questions here. So, we have someone asking that they're considering a rental that doesn't currently have heating or or air conditioning. The realtor is suggesting that they could submit a request for the landlord to install both systems. What risk should I be aware of if the landlord doesn't follow through? Is there any smart way to structure the request, or simply look for a different property that already has temperature control?
Well, try first send an email to your future landlord, asking maybe if you want to install air conditioning, you can also pay it, deduct it later on based on your rentals. And if he accepts, that's my recommendation. If he accepts this deal, okay, move in, do it. If he doesn't accept, I would advise find something new.
As a foreigner renting in Portugal, I would definitely suggest offering to pay for whatever you want and subtracting it for the price, because relying on the landlord to install heating and air conditioning in an apartment that's a rental, well, let's just say, yeah, I would stay away from that. But you could definitely submit an offer minus that, as Francisco said. So let's see what else we have. So, Lindsay, thank you, Lindsay, for your question. And in short, Lindsay's asking if she could use the P.O. Box method and travel around Portugal through various means, including houseboats. So the answer is yes. First, you would set up a P.O. Box that you would use for the Portuguese to receive your mail in the for the visa application. In other words, sufficing the visa application process, and then of course you can rent what either houseboats or apartments, or move around as you see fit. You can contact Francisco. He can find you a very nice houseboat, as I know that there are some in Expo, yeah. Exactly, and Albufeira
as well,
and maybe somewhere else. But again, he's the broker, so talk to him. But yes, you can use the P.O. Box system to facilitate that. Next question. What do we got going on here? Okay. Great.
Gleb, are you enjoying the wine?
It's very nice. The wine is good. So we have a very interesting question about financing from Christina. She is a EU citizen looking to buy a property in Portugal. What is the down payment that Portuguese banks would ask for an EU citizen?
Well, it depends on how old you are. If you are under 35, you can go through a process as well to help you financing. But I would ask you to contact me later for some questions, and I can help you out in a more specific way and give you also maybe the contact of our financing department, Leonor, that is more in tuned to what would be the down payment normally. If you're not under 35 and you want to do it your own way, I would say 10%. 10% is the typical.
And also, I believe that Portugal has a program for financing people under 35. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend that you contact his office and get the information on that because it is quite competitive. Okay, next question. Ooh, well, this is not a real estate question, but I'll take this one. It is, what's your personal advice? Ask the following: what's your personal advice for foreigners trying to balance a budget and location lifestyle in Portugal for a family of four? First, I would ask, what is I would say that for a family of four, I'm assuming a couple with two children. Looking to, if you're living in Lisbon, I would say you to live a comfortable lifestyle with a family of four, and you would need roughly 5,000 to 6,000 at least. If you need a breakdown of those numbers, please do not hesitate to contact me. That number could go down if you are living in other jurisdictions of Portugal. But the rent you should account for at least roughly 2,000 in rent for a family of that size, and 3,000 to 4,000 in expenses. Depends how glamorous you want to live. Again, please contact me later if you want to get into the details. Ooh. A question from the private chat, and this probably is for Francisco. What are the red flags or common scams foreigners should watch out for when renting? It's a good one. Good question. Whoever that was.
So I would say watch out with Facebook. Watch out
Facebook.
with Facebook. There are a lot of people. You know, there's good people, bad people, and of course, here in Portugal, we have both, and everywhere you have it. So watch out with Facebook ads. Watch out when you see crazy names that like don't they like you crazy names or people that just don't fit asking you money, give me money, and no documents, no nothing, no proof of anything. Watch out. Just watch out with that.
Don't send deposits for properties you have not seen. And again, real estate representation is free in Portugal. Send your representative who does not get paid by you and is free to look at the property before you send money. Okay, guys? If you don't, you can also contact our office. We can send someone, and if you don't want to go through real estate, we can send. But absolutely do not. That is the number one scam that I hear about: sending a deposit for properties that do not exist. Let's see what we got here. So Lindsay is asking, this is not a real estate question. What was the recent legislation that changed? There was recently legislation that changed the 5-year visa to apply for dual citizenship to a 10-year visa wait. Then yesterday I saw the legislation might not pass. What is the new law? Since I just started the process with a few weeks ago. So first of all, guys, it is the 10. Basically, I think the question is that people have to live right now. A person must have residency for 5 years in order to apply for a passport in Portugal. There is proposed legislation for a 10-year process. That was originally approved by Parliament, sent to the president for review. Has not been reviewed. That has not been approved. That might get down Parliament. In short, we do not know. There is no legislation as of now that is going to dictate that it's going to take 10 years to get your passport. Guys, if you have questions that relate to the law of immigration, please contact our office. Please avoid reading information in chat rooms as the information is rarely accurate. Okay, guys, we will give you the answers for free. Contact us. Ooh, a good one for you, Francisco. Christina asking, where would it be most profitable to buy an investment property in Portugal for Airbnb rental? Porto, Lisbon, or the Algarve?
Well, I would say Oeiras. Which is some 20 minutes from Lisbon, where you can because in Lisbon, okay, we are no longer transmitting the creating new Airbnb licenses, so you are fighting with 1,000 enemies. And if you go to Oeiras, you don't have no legislation for new Airbnb licenses, and is one of the best areas to live on Lisbon. You have everything there. You have an amazing mayor, and well, come to Lisbon, go to Oeiras, and see by yourselves. So I would say yes, Oeiras near Lisbon, or Porto. Porto can be also a good option. Yeah.
So you have Porto, Oeiras, which is a little bit of a curveball to the question.
But of course, also let me just to say it, if you need to find a property with Airbnb licenses in Lisbon, go contact an agent. And if you want to go to Algarve, okay, ERA, it's all around Lisbon, and we have many contacts as well. I have myself contacts of realtors in Algarve, and if you want, we can discuss it later on, Christina, and I can help you out to get you an amazing realtor based in Algarve that can help you find your property.
Well, Jonathan Tobridge is asking a very, very serious question. What a curveball! But if I'm not sure if I know the answer to this, but I know our lawyers do. So, Jonathan, if Francisco can't answer that, please contact us later. But I'm going to read this out loud because I myself am curious with the answer. I've heard that parents can gift property to their children in Portugal without tax limits, and that trust can create problems in Portugal, probate. Is it true that owning property personally rather than through a trust and gifting it to the children before death is the simplest way to pass property on? What's the recommended approach for avoiding complications with inheritance and probate in Portugal?
Well, I know some stories of people that they transmit the property still during their lifetime to avoid taxes. But of course, I'm not a lawyer, and I will always advise to seek legal advice. I can help you out with with real estate issues, but legal support. Please contact a lawyer. I'm sure
Or Digital Visa Portugal.
I'm sure Gleb can help you out with Digital Visa, of course. He has many contacts of trustworthy lawyers, so he would be the right person to help you
So,
out.
guys, based on the time, we're gonna have to start to wind down, but we'll take 2 or 3 more questions. And again, if your question was not answered, please do not hesitate to contact us. We will load our contact information on the screen at the end, and you can go ahead and set up appointment. The consultations are free. So let's see what we got. The final questions. Keith is asking, looking to sell our house in the U.S. within the year rent in the U.S. till we are ready to move, 2027. So can you advise is to start looking at homes after we sell, or go ahead and buy? Just to be, I'm assuming Keith is referring to buying in Portugal. So
Let's
I
assume
think,
it.
does he basically? I think I'll let you take it.
Yes. Well, Keith, if you have some deposit money that you can already put in for a house, I'm sure you can already start looking for apartments. And during the process that you're selling, and then it's everything you can articulate in your CPCV, and then in the deed, of course. Like if you need some more time, when I said you need 60 days or 10 days, all of this is mutable. Everything you can change regarding the CPCV. So if you need more time to do the extra payment, let's say, okay, let's imagine, Keith, that you find an amazing property for 400K, and you put a down payment of 10%. You put the 40K, and then 60 days after, you'll go straight to the deed and buy the property. If this is the time frame that you need for you to sell your property and get the rest of the money to complete the offer, which would be the next 360 plus taxes.
So, in short, Keith, contact Francisco, and he.
Or
But
that.
basically, look, Keith, you need to start thinking about if you want to buy the property before you get your visa. If I understand correctly, you're looking to move to Portugal in 2027. If that's the case, you have some time. But I would recommend, if you're buying a property and you want, with the current market, as a foreigner, is if you need at least a solid 6 months. If you can get it quicker, great. But in 6 months, you will find something. So please plan accordingly. Of course, the more time you have, the better maybe you have. But you can start as late as June 2026, and of course, you can make that decision by speaking to Francisco about what the pricing looks like today and what it might look like when you come. Next, and we have Mr. Michael Day from Florida. If you are looking to move to Portugal and rent a place, when is a good time to start speaking to a realtor? Upon arrival to Portugal or before? I'm going to hand this to Francisco, but my personal opinion is before. But Francisco.
Right now, my number is 3 plus 351 9144642229. Contact me and I will help you out. Don't worry. Florida man, I'm here for you.
Yes, Michael. Definitely, I would leave at least 2-3 months. But ideally, you want to land in Portugal and have the keys to your place, unless you don't, of course. In which case, then that you have other requirements. And now we're at the last question. Is it possible to remain a tax resident in another EU country while using a fiscal representative in Portugal to buy a property? And what do you recommend is the best approach? In short, the answer is yes, but it is not a very easy yes. There are many details, and in this question, the devil is in the details. Again, the answer is yes. You can use a fiscal representation and be a EU resident in another country. Please contact us and we will explain in detail how to do that. Okay, I think we're being told that our time is up. So, wrap up notes. Let's go. So first, we are going to. Oh, all right. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the webinar. So let's wrap it up. First, thank you for spending this time with us, guys, and thank you, Francisco from ERA and the entire ERA team. Again, I would not invite someone to speak here unless I use them personally, and that is, by the way, the model of how Digital Visa Portugal runs. If we don't know personally, we do not recommend. Okay, guys? So our goal today was to remove some. I know it's impossible to remove all of the confusion, but I'm sure if you contact Francisco, he will remove the rest that we have not removed here. I hope that you are feeling a little bit more confident about Portugal's real estate market than you did before, or at the very least, you know who to call if you have questions. Again, remember, the key is that the advice is free. Free from our side, free from Cisco. All you have to do is say that you were at the webinar, and it is all free. And it's not free for us. We get paid by the other side, so don't worry. Okay, guys? So we're going to put up a few QR codes that will allow you to contact Digital Visa Portugal if you have visa questions or anything other than real estate questions. And you can even ask us real estate questions, but we'll probably ask Francisco to give us the answer. Also, we have Francisco's ERA contact. Please contact him if you have any questions about property. He is amazing. His team is great. And again, their services are free. So I think that we will, again, guys, look, thank you very much for coming. We're going to go now and finish our wine. I hope you guys finish your soft drinks and coffee. And when you come to Portugal, we can finish the wine together. All right, guys, we're going to have to sign off now because I think we've said all we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And
bye, guys.
Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Oh, Francisco, do you want to say something before we go?
Well,
sorry.
I would
a
just
little bit on roll here.
Yeah, I would just like to say that when you're trying to find property, you need the right people behind you. Even if you're looking for a visa, come on, just you have here our good friend Gleb with an amazing company. Myself here, ready to rock and roll with you for to help you rental or buy. So my friends, don't hesitate. We are here to help. Our help would be free. So just contact us and we'll be happy to give you some support. And again, Gleb, thank you so much for having me here.
My pleasure.